Hello, I'm Mbweha, you can call me Ben, of Team Relentless, and this is an introduction to some homebrew battle forces I made. I kind of thought battle forces were going to be all about, well, battles. And so that's what these homebrew versions are going to be focused on. Today, we're talking about the battle on Jedha. The battle on Jedha, obviously not to be confused with the Battle of Jedha, was a skirmish that took place between an Imperial garrison and Gerrera's partisan extremists. The Empire had an interest in Jedha because of the moon's kyber crystal mines, which were necessary to power the brand new and very well designed, with absolutely no flaws in its exhaust port, thank you very much, super weapon, the Death Star. The partisans were there to stop that, or maybe just steal the kyber. It's not exactly clear. Featured as the first big action scene in the film Rogue One, this battle in Jedha City became a quick fan favorite. It's gritty, there's a sweet looking tank, and a bunch of stuff explodes. First, let's take a look at the nasty boys in white, the Jedi Garrison. When you play Jedi Garrison, you are required to take 1 to 2 commanders, where your options are the generic Imperial officer or a battle force specific version of First Sergeant Arb Mab. Notice that Arb Mab still only costs 5 points, still includes Tactical 1, but now has Field Commander, Reliable 2, and Gav only. For your core, you're looking at 4 to 8 Stormtroopers, where you can take up to 2 heavy response units, which are pretty much obligatory because they are so stinking good. The other requirement for the list is 1 to 2 heavies, with the options being the Gav and the ATST. Of course, if you take Arb Mab in the Gav, you'll be fulfilling not only this requirement, but also the Commander requirement and scoring plenty of imaginary victory points for theme. Lastly, you can take up to 2 support units, choosing from speeder bikes and the E-Web. While we don't see either of these units in the battle in the film, it's reasonable to assume that an Imperial garrison would have access to both. Plus, everybody loves an E-Web and a Gav. Jedi Garrison also gains access to 3 unique, well, mostly unique command cards. Hit the Tower will allow your heavies to blast right through your opponent's cover. See what I did there? Garrison Reinforcements is a straight reskin of Turning the Tide, which will help you keep suppression off of your Stormies. And Stormtrooper Assault is basically a weaker version of Iden's Tactical Strike, giving 3 of your core units the ability to advance on enemy positions while gaining much needed aim tokens. On the other side of the battle is Gerrera's Rebel Partisan Cell. When playing partisans, you must take some combination of 1 to 4 commanders or operatives, with at least one of them being a commander, and your options are Cassian, Jin, K2, and Gerrera. Gerrera is basically a reskin of Moff Gideon. For special forces, you must take 1 to 2 units of rebel partisans. Note that you could take up to 3 if you make use of Saw's Entourage keyword. These units are mostly reskins of Rebel Pathfinders, although they are allowed to take the heavy weapon upgrades of Rebel Troopers. Also note that they are still allowed to take the A300 armament upgrade in their loadout. Speaking of Rebel Troopers, you're going to need 3 to 6 of them to fill out your core ranks when you run this battle force. And lastly, you can take up to 2 swoop bikes, ignoring normal army building restrictions, and 1 X-34 land speeder. While we don't see either of these units in this battle, it seems reasonable and thematically appropriate that Saw's Rebel Partisans would use vehicles like these against the Empire. Like their Imperial counterparts, the Rebel Partisans gain 3 mostly unique command cards. Hidden Position will give a Special Forces unit incognito for the round, giving them the ability to get into the ideal firing position before revealing themselves to the enemy. Cunning Ambush is a reskin of Krennic's Deploy the Garrison, and Partisan Tactics is a reskin of Callus's 3-pip. While you could certainly use these battle forces when playing against any other army in Star Wars Legion, I think a lot of players will be interested in recreating the battle on Jedha using these battle forces. If so, build a Jedha-inspired table and then play with a predetermined battle deck. Payload, hemmed in, and rapid reinforcements. Just make sure the Imperials are blue for the purposes of deployment, and then you should be ready to relive this iconic battle from Rogue One. That's it for these homebrew battle forces. The documents describing them in detail can be found on the Team Relentless website, as well as linked in the description of this video. If you end up playing the thematic battle option and take photos and post them, I'd love to be tagged in them and hear about how it went. I'm Mbweha, you can call me Ben, of Team Relentless, and this has been Homebrew Battle Forces Battle on Jedha.